Keen, what's up, my man? How you been? How's Brood War been treating you?
Hey, I've been doing pretty good. It's been all right. I haven't been playing too much, but I'm looking forward. I'm feeling pretty optimistic about my match this week. So
Excellent. Who are you facing again?
I'm facing Abji.
Ooh, that'll be a fun one. Did you face him
I
last
don't really
season at
know
all?
anything about him. No, no, no.
Okay, he's kind of he's loosely referred to as like the skill ceiling allowed in UPL. Um,
Okay.
Basically, whenever anyone beats him in like the USL, which is like the UPL tournament that they have in like an ASL format, generally they get banned or they become uneligible to participate in UPL events. Anyway, Abji's good. I think that'll be actually a fun match, a fun little ZVP. But yeah, I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear you're feeling confident. I did something today that was kind of silly with Brood Wars. So there was we have like a newer Zerg player or or Terran player rather, and they're struggling to hold off 9 pool. And I was like, hey, check it out. Like this is what you do, right? Like when you're scouting, make sure you bring that follow up scout. If you don't scout them on the first location, you'll run into the lings, and if you see that, pull some SCVs to your ramp, and then you'll hold it off just fine. And there was a little bit of a discussion, a little back and forth. And then the Zerg practice partner that they were playing with was like, "Hey, will you mind showing?" And I was like, "Hell yeah, let's do this." And so I go into the game and I start getting distracted. Like I forget even like why I'm there. And I'm like doing my scouting and I'm doing everything and I'm missing things because I haven't played in like 2 weeks or whatever. And I totally just get run over by this 9 pool that I was supposed to be demonstrating like how to hold. It was kind of embarrassing, but that kind of sums up my Brood War experience for the past week.
Yeah, let me tell you. So even when you are active, I can't tell you like how many times when I've been like really active and laddering a lot, I've just been like zoning out in the middle of a ladder session and like I just forget what matchup I'm in or something. So I play like a ZVZ build and a ZVT or something.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
it's like
it's ridiculous.
you have to be really focused, really dialed in to play before at all at like a decent level.
I know. Oh my gosh. And you know what? There have been a lot of people in season 2 that are already dialed in and knocking a bunch of stuff off. So, what we want to go over today is I want to look at the website that school has been using. It's absolutely beautiful. It's so beautiful. I want to look at the performance of the players that have played so far in season 2, looking at our predictions, which I think is going to be a whole lot harder with this format. Like last season, you and I were able to go match by match, but there's 40 series a
Yeah.
week, and that's just going to be too much to predict. So maybe we can look at a couple key matches, maybe the ones that have the +1 bonus points to them, and maybe throw some predictions in there. But I also want to keep an eye on some of the newer players. We just came off the draft last week. We had the new players show up into their teams, and then immediately their teams are throwing them into the ring. I want to see how these players are doing and if they're racking up and stacking up to the bid amounts that have been thrown their way. And then I just want to get your thoughts on the format, because
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't want to spoil like my own thoughts, but I'm curious about yours. So let's go ahead and jump into the website. I threw it in the chat as well. So exclamation point website will take you to the new StarCraft Underground website where there's just so many cool features. I want to go through it real quick. Um, it was announced. Ah, oh, damn it, we went to the beach again. Let's go. There we go. All right, so it was announced after the draft, I think is when it was announced. And it's currently being used for the first time to track matches. And so I want to go through a little bit of, let me go ahead and kill Steam. This always happens whenever I'm streaming. Like all my friends and stuff jump on Steam and their notifications keep popping up. So anyway, when you show up, you're going to go and you're going to see the home screen. And you can see some of the stats that are so cool. There's been 110 tournaments. Those are the brackets that we referred to. We got our 2 seasons, 209 players, 3,366 games
That's
have been played.
insane.
Isn't that insane? And we're coming up on a year right now, on StarCraft Underground. I started it last June, and I was thinking about that, and I was just like, wow, coming up on a year, right? 52 weeks in a year. We're averaging over a bracket a week, Like we're in. If you look at the games played, that's almost a game per day. No, I'm sorry, 10 games per day, and we're not even at the year point yet. So that that's insane. That is so cool, and I love that Champion who made this website decided to put some of these stats on the front page. But anyway, what I wanted to showcase on this website is just a couple of the features, and then I want to use it for a discussion going into how the players have been performing in season 2. So we go to my matches. If you're a player in a tournament, you'll have, like, I'm a bad example of this because I'm not signed up for anything, but like you'll see your brackets here, you'll see your league matches here that you have to play. We have all the players, their APMs, races, when they were last played, the tournaments that they've participated in, and I do want to show something real quick. I think Mevius wins the number of tournaments with a whopping 69 tournaments that
Nice.
they've played in. Yeah, nice,
That,
right?
that's insane. I don't know how he possibly did that. That's like almost every single tournament. What the?
I know, and there's a couple points to that, right? One, Mevius was one of the first players to join StarCraft Underground, so he's been here since like the beginning. Two, I don't think he ladders or does like I think StarCraft Underground is him playing StarCraft. Like I don't think there's any
Mhm.
other venues that he participates in. He's mentioned that to me once, so I don't know if that's changed or anything. Maybe he's in BWCL and stuff like that, but absolutely wild because I think the next person is me, and the only reason I have this number is I was participating in a lot of them, but also actually that was it. I was thinking maybe because I had to include myself in Discord roles for every single tournament, but that doesn't check out. So I think I am the second most played, and that was mostly just so I could fill a slot as we were getting this thing going. But anyway,
Yeah, I think I looked at it and I was actually pretty high up there too.
yeah, you got
But
17.
I'm like top five though. There's like a huge drop off.
Yeah. Well, and I'm also curious about, well, there's a lot of newer players, right? So a lot of the biggest waves of players that showed up to StarCraft Underground was at the end of CPL. We got a large wave of players, and then when Skull first kicked off, which those things were both pretty aligned, um, but that was kind of like our biggest influx of players. So anyway, that there's that, and you can click into people, right? So let's pick someone. You said you're playing Abji. Let's go ahead and take a look at Abji. So you can click into a player and look at their stats, right? Actually, let's look at you because you have more tournaments. So we click on you. We can see the awards that you've earned, right? You're the Cash Cow, Content Creator, Peace Prize, Iron Man from Season 1. Look at you. You're all blinged out. You have your league win-loss record from Skull. You have the lifetime bucks that you've earned, your average APM. But even more, you can look at your opponents and see what maps they are best at, right? Look at Neo Sylphid. This should be a good week for you. You have a 100% win rate on Neo Sylphid across 6 games. Attitude
Oh
6-3,
yeah.
Jane Doe 67 or 2-1 with a 67%. And then you can go and look at these replays, right? So like if you're going up against an opponent, like you're going up against Abji, which I guess oh no, that's your upcoming match. You could click on Abji, look at his games he's played. Let's I don't know who's Zerg here. I don't think any Renix is Zerg. You can click there and you can actually download the replays. you,
That's crazy.
you
How did he set this up?
No
How
freaking
does he?
clue, dude. I have no idea how any of this works. But you can click in, you can download the replays yourself from here. You can look at the APMs of the players, the EAPMs. You can see the heat map. Now, I've been trying to find a way for this to be useful, but I haven't really found a way for it to be useful outside of it just being really cool, right? So you can see where they spawn, right? So like down here was Abji, up there was Renak. You can see the activity as it's taking place on the map throughout the game, right? So like one way of looking at this is if you don't want to go into the replay, you can look at build, right? And you can see, okay, at 1 minute and 20-ish seconds, spawning pool, undoubtedly, right? Pylon, forge,
Mhm.
expansion down here at 214. Like it's just freaking wild, man. It's so cool.
Yeah, it's really
It
cool.
even has storms.
Like you can, yeah. Well, okay. So champion is in here saying you can check mines. I mean, you can check like expansion patterns. it yeah, it's I mean obviously it's gonna be better if you just go into the replay and watch the replay, but like if you just want to do a little cursory check, there's definitely uses.
Yeah, for sure. So anyway, that's something you can do here. And one thing I wanted to point out because no one has been using it, but as you submit your replays and you look at your replays throughout the season, if you're a player, you can actually request your games to be cast, right? And so currently all these requests go to me. And so what happens is, let's say you request this to be casted, this Rennick versus Abji game, then it will show up on my casting dashboard, and then I can cast it. And check this out. Check this out. These are all the casts I've done. Look at what Champion did here. Um,
Whoa.
all the casts that have ever taken place are here on my dashboard. But if a game has been cast and you find it organically throughout the website, like let's say you were looking at least profile or whatever, and you go here to the game, there it is at the timestamp in
Oh
Twitch.
wow. That's fucking awesome, dude.
And you can watch the Least First Thrive series. It's freaking nuts, dude. It's so damn cool.
That is crazy.
Oh, look at all these. All of these. They all went he went through all of them and they're right there embedded at the timestamp on the Twitch channel. So freaking gnarly. Okay. So that's what you can do from just looking at players, right? So it's a great research tool. It's also just fun to dig into. You can see people's awards and stuff like that. You can see who's on what team. Um, it also has map stats. So if you want to look at it by map, right, you can look at like Jane Doe and you can see every single game that's been played on Jane Doe in both the brackets and the league, right? So like let's say we have Neo Sylphid coming up, right? And it's going to be a ZVP. You can look at the Art of Turtle Navane game that was played just this morning for inspiration and get like that replay, right?
Hmm.
So anyway, just wanted to showcase those features. Let's go into the league features though. So if you go in here, this needs to be updated a little bit. It has the info tab. This was meant to be the base rulebook, kind of uploaded in here. Still go to the base manual. This requires a little bit of touch-ups, but for quick reference, it's okay. Um, it has like the default times, like some of the scheduling stuff all makes sense. I think the only thing that needs a little bit of update from my side is maybe some of this contract stuff, right? Like this extension, that's incorrect. So I didn't need to update that, but it has the rules all there. It has the teams, right? It has the bling from Savage winning season 1. You can go in and check everyone's draft price and all sorts of stuff. Who's the captain, awards that were given. So this is a part of it. You can also see what round people went, I believe. Maybe that's not in here, and if it is, I apologize, Champion, for not. Yeah, you're right, Mevis. No one's going to read those rules. You know how many times people have been coming up on the net asking what map they're playing on? What is it, a best of 3? Is it a best of 1? What do the yellow blocks mean for the matches? Like no one listens to anything. It's great. But anyway, let's go into the actual season. This is what I wanted to use to discuss today. So if we look at the performance so far in week 1 of Skull, our 4 matchups, right? Our 4 teams facing off against 2 teams each. This is where we're shaking out. Right now we are at 3-5. Legion versus Savage. Savage versus Chaos tied up at 4. Chaos versus Unhinged 4-3. So Unhinged, our 4th seed team leaving season 1, is leading against Chaos and leading against Legion 9-8. So absolutely wild. I did want to point out real quick. So I was going through here and I was checking. I was like, okay, how many matches has each team played? What's like their average, point to match ratio, etc. One thing I did want to point out is Savage does have, I think, the least amount of games and a decent amount of points. And so if I look here at whoa, ugh, I feel like that meme where the dude's like waking up with the light in his face, like, oh. But if I go here to round robin, you can see all the points right now. So right now, Unhinged is actually leading in week one with 13 points. Legion is in second right now with 11. Savage in third with 9, and Chaos in fourth with 7. And so you can see how tight the spread is right now. But I'm a little all over the place. Right now, are there any of these matches that seem like an upset to you, Keen? I don't know if you've had a chance to look at any of these so far, but any initial thoughts from the scores that you're seeing on the site?
Um, so so far I think wow, okay, actually one that's jumping out at me right now. Um Sony lost a killer ace. Dang, I thought
2-0.
yeah. Um I was talking to Sony quite a bit about Killa's style. I don't know how the games went actually. I haven't talked to him about the games yet, but I feel like Killa has a he has a very distinct, unique ZZ style, and he's not a pushover by any means, but I feel like I kind of I don't know. I thought we had a good working strategy for Sony to take him down. So that's kind of a bummer to see, but no shame in losing to Killa, obviously. Very solid player.
Yeah,
Um,
Kill's been doing really well recently, and then also Sony. I've been seeing some chats in various servers. I think even well, I mean, servers talking about like, hey, does anyone know how Sony plays? Like, people know who he is because he's been around forever, apparently. But from what I'm understanding, is he plays old school. Um, like I guess like a lot of his
yeah.
strategies are from like the late '90s. Like back in the 1998. Like transition from
Well,
vanilla to
I don't know
Brood
about
War.
that old school,
Okay, okay.
but yeah, he prides himself on like not playing the absolute like bog standard style. He likes to kind of freestyle it a little bit, do like weird strats and stuff. Um, yeah, so I'm I am very happy that my boy Royo took down Neocean. Neocean's a pretty strong Protoss, so as I was saying before, I feel like Royo is like not a known entity. He's kind of like under everyone's radar, but he's really good.
Yeah, definitely looks like it. 2-0ing Newish. Gosh dang it. All right, we got Sharkira going on right now. I'm going to turn it down a little bit, but there you go. We love Sharkira here. You can always
Is that
Sharkira.
is
It's
that
a
a Godzilla
Tangia thing.
villain
I
or?
threw a Tangia on the stream. The thing is I had it on, and I was doing cast, and the problem was people were being obnoxious with it, which is kind of its intent, right? People are just obnoxious with Tangia.
You're right.
But I didn't want it to ruin people watching their games. So I always turn it off. Sometimes I forget that it's off, but I think with this, it's perfectly acceptable to have Sharkira and all this other crap going on. Yeah, I don't know why some things are small and they're not, but anyway, Escalade, have fun with it. Yeah, so Royo and New Ocean, kind of a part of the topic I want to discuss when looking at these scores, and I think maybe a better way is we'll just go down the list of the games that have been played and our impressions on them. But both of these players are new to the league, right? Was New Ocean in season one?
I don't believe so. I
Okay,
don't
I
remember
think he
seeing him
was.
in
I think
any.
he was. No, he
Oh,
wasn't.
okay.
No, he wasn't. He was just in season two. See how we can check with that? Oh God, this website's so
Yeah,
freaking
that's
good.
nice. That's nice. Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't remember him in any brackets.
Yeah, so Royo 2-0ing New Ocean. That is a big win for Savage. Definitely a player that Legion picked up at a premium, I think. I think New Ocean was pretty expensive, if I'm not mistaken. Let's go ahead and check here. Um, I think I'd have to probably go all the way back to the draft, so I'm not going to do that. But yeah, this is a big win for Savage. Also, an example of a win going to a team and getting the +1 bonus point, right? So these first three
Hmm.
matches, these first three series on each of these matchups, give an extra point. So that gives them 3, and you can see that across 2 other series where Legion was able to get map wins, they it took them 2 series to get to 3 points. So I was telling people from the start, hey, this +1 bonus is a big deal. Make sure you're putting the best of the best that you have in there, because that's going to pay off big time for your team.
Yeah, if you sweep all those, that's easy 9 points. It's pretty. I mean, it's literally 50% more. than you would get otherwise. So I think that's a pretty big bonus.
And it's interesting because it's only if you win, right? So like you're already ahead and you're getting the bonus point. So yeah, okay. So Royo New Ocean, that's an interesting one. Hazaresh Shafir, this one's interesting because if we were predicting before going into this week, I don't really know. I've seen Hazareth play more and probably would predict him to win. But what are your thoughts on this one?
Um, I didn't know what Hazarath was inactive actually, but I felt like he was like an up and coming Protoss for a
Hmm.
while. Um, I feel like it's a pretty even matchup actually. This 1 and 2 doesn't really surprise me that much.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. And then Dorkmoon versus Noob Tier. I would have predicted this one to be 2-0. Both these players a part of UPL. I watched them play. And Dorkmoon is just a very, very strong Protoss. Noob Tier is good too, but I think Dorkmoon's kind of a layer above, right? So I think this was a good pairing
Hmm.
from Legion. And to that point, to the pairing point, this came up a lot, and so I just want to take a second and bring it up. There was a lot of players in various team channels and stuff asking about who was sent first and who was paired up against that player. And so, um, one thing I did here in the master sheet is I color coded it so that players can reference it themselves. And so, if it's green, then that means that the player was sent out first. If it's pink, that means that the player was the response, right? So for this example, right, like let's look at Unhinged versus Legion. G5 was placed first, and Legion sent Mars to face up against G5 and then placed GG Nori, then Dentarg, etc. Okay, so I just wanted to throw that out there. If you're one of those players that's curious about that, then then that's where you can find that information. Okay, so that's Legion and Savage. We've only had 3 matches between them so far. I do want your predictions for the +1 bonus matches. So Father versus Nomad. What are your thoughts on that one?
Oh man, honestly, so I feel like Nomad is the favorite here, but I think Father's best matchup is TVP, and Nomad is really good. Okay, don't get me wrong, but he is a bit of a wild card. He tends to play kind of like very greedy builds. Um, so I don't know. I don't know how their record has been against each other since Father came back. Like he just started playing again like a few months ago. But they both play a lot, and I'm sure they've played each other because we're all on a server together. Um, I'd put Nomad 2-0, but honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it went either way.
Wow, okay. So big bucks on Nomad. What about Mazer versus Pandor?
This is another really hard one for me because well, okay, I feel like I have like an innate bias for Pandor because I think he's really good. Like I find it really hard to play versus him. I think his TVP and his TVZ are really solid. He's also just like a very standard player. Like he kind of does similar stuff every game. In fact, last season, I pointed Static, who was playing him in the finals, to his Seawall account, and Static did a bunch of research and like basically designed the best possible build to play against Pandora and just crushed him. So
Are you gonna do the same for Mazer?
I haven't talked to him about it. I probably should have. Maybe I'll ping him tonight. I
Yeah,
don't
I was
know if
gonna
he
say
has
if
the
it
time to
worked
do that.
before, because I just clicked into Pandora, right? That's what you saw me doing, and you brought up
Yeah.
the static match. Um, that was kind of the last high profile TVP that he faced, and Static ended up being victorious in that. So watching Pandora is super good. He is super good. Mazer's been doing very well in the brackets. I think this is his first season. I'm gonna get friggin' ringed for being wrong about that. No, he's yeah. This is his first season. So um one of these players I'm going to get wrong, and they're going to be like, "You didn't remember me." But anyway, that's going to be a fun match to watch, definitely.
Yeah, I feel like they're also both incredibly even. So I really don't know. But Mazer is on my team, and going by my rule of matchups, I'm going to say Mazer takes it
There you
in
go.
2-1.
The Savage bias. Okay, sounds good. Let's look at Savage versus Chaos. So now this one's interesting because we haven't seen any of the +1 bonus matches played yet. Right now they're both tied up, but you can see that Savage does have more series wins, right? So Mevius and Shimmer do have the victories over their opponents, being Arcade and Badger. Whereas Chaos has only won the Kill Ace Sony match, which, as we already discussed, was kind of a that's kind of a big deal for Chaos. Maybe not what they were banking. Like when they put players up against others, they're probably in their head kind of tallying up like, okay, this one's going to be a win, this one's a maybe, this one's maybe going to be a loss. Kind of gauging it that way. This one I think might have gone like very successful for Chaos. What do you think about some of these bonus matches? Static versus Jedi 1 PvP. Those were their top dogs in this one.
Yeah, so I think Static is just straight up a better player than Jedi, so I'd have to give him the benefit of the doubt there. It is PvP, so I feel like anything can happen, but I'd say at most it'd be like 2-1 for Static, probably 2-0 though.
Okay, so static victory here. Ozzy versus Erob. Now, I feel like these two have played a good amount in the money tournaments, but I can't recall who always ends up on top. Ozzy did just reach S rank not long ago. Um,
Yeah,
what are your thoughts?
um, I think Ozzy is the favorite here. Eurob did like I feel like Eurob has been getting some pretty good results lately. He took a game off Wolfix, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
I feel like he's been punching above his weight a little bit. I don't really like. I don't think he streams or anything. I don't like watch him or follow him. I'm not in any servers with him, so I don't really know him that well. But um, I still think Ozzy is going to take it, probably 2-0.
Oh, man. All right, so that would be a 6 point swing towards Savage, giving 10-4 with these predictions already. Psygrass versus Tim. I think this is where it might change. Now, Tim is kind of a legend in my brain, right? Like this being that's super good at the game, but I've never seen him play. I've never seen him
Yeah,
play.
yeah. Tim is like he's like one of the he's like a CPL legend because he's like one of the few who like I think along with Doodle. I don't know about Doodle because Doodle's already pretty good when he got into the CPL. Tim and Doodle, we can say they're like CPL legends because they started at the bottom and now they're here. You know, they made it. They made it out of CPL. Um,
They've reached that coach rank.
yeah. So I feel like Grast is very good, but Tim is definitely a level above him.
Oh,
Tim, like at his peak, he hit S. I don't know how active he is right now. I think he's just getting back into the swing of things. But even when he's inactive, he's like solid A. And I feel like Grass is like high B, low A at best.
gotcha. Yeah,
So I think Tim is going to take it for sure.
yeah. And what does Tim play? Do you remember his
He's
race?
Protoss.
He's Protoss. Okay. I don't know Grass PvP. Honestly, I feel like the for some weird reason I've casted a lot of Grass versus Killa Ace. Um, So I don't know how his PvP is going to be, but yeah, like we said, Tim kind of a legend. So I think we'll go with the legend status there and probably lean towards Tim. And so then that would put us with just 3 points ahead for Savage. And so if we kind of play this forward a little bit, because I'm kind of curious here, right? Like Savage being the number one seed leaving season one, I'm paying a lot of attention to how this format works for them and if their depth holds up in this new season format. Just like I'm paying a lot of attention to Unhinged as well, being the fourth seed and coming into this new format. I think both of those teams, there's a lot of interest in how their scores pan out. Looking here, some of these are a little bit tough. Ronan versus Joe Megan, that that would probably be a really good match. No, I almost feel like maybe Ronan's favored in that one, but Joe Megan's also really good. That's tough to gauge.
Um, I really don't know anything about Joe Bacon.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
no worries. He's a high
um,
performing UPLer.
okay.
Ronan's been
And Ronan is
playing.
like a B Zerg, right?
Yeah, I think so.
High performing UPLer equals B rank.
Yeah,
ish.
about, yeah, B-ish. So I think this is a face-off of B rankers.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna have to give my boy Joe,
Savage bias.
yeah, yeah,
I love it. I love it. And then you can see here the scores: Mevius beating Arcade 2-1. I think that's a good win for Savage. And then Shimmer beating Badger. I think Badger's a newer player, but beating
yeah,
him 2-1 is also a good thing for Savage as well. Yeah, a lot of new
yeah.
names we're seeing here.
Shimmer victories. We take them
We take them. We take them. Shimmer also, I think, a very cheap draft pick as well. If I recall, I think Savage picked him up for 5 SCU bucks. So already paying for himself with that and the prestige that's associated with it. So
for
good win
sure.
there. Chaos versus Unhinged. Let's look at a few of these matches. Now this one's interesting because there's only been 2 matches played. Um, Chaos and Unhinged had quite a back and forth in season one. They were neck and neck for fourth seed and third seed, which mattered a lot in the season one format. And Chaos just barely squeaked by Unhinged to get that third seed, and then they kind of had a little bit of a controversial finals bracket where there was some forfeits and stuff like that. And Chaos ended up carrying forward and facing Legion in season one. But I'm really curious to see how these two play off against each other because their matches just seem so even. And we're already seeing that with the 2 match series that have been played, both of them being 2-1. So the first one, what are your thoughts on Remap versus Nesh and Nesh taking it 2-1? Is this what you would have predicted?
If it was any other time than like right now, I would have predicted a remap, but I feel a little bad for a remap. He has a new kid, um, and he's been really busy at work.
The way you worded that, I'm so sorry. You have a kid. No, no,
Well,
no, but
what
it's
I mean
busy. It's
is
busy, right? You're
he's
not as
busy. He's
active.
busy. He's like sleep deprived and stuff. He's in kind of a slump with StarCraft, and I feel bad for him just because he's been like getting beaten up by like everyone. He's been losing to everyone. Um, and yeah, he's just in a few months maybe when he gets some sleep, finally he'll be back
Yeah,
to
yeah.
his
This
normal
this
self.
might be a timing thing here for old Remap. Um, but yeah, Nesh being able to pick that up. Nesh seems to have been performing very well so far throughout Skull. And so Remap, who I think we already learned that we can't check the draft price, but I think he was an expensive early pick in the
Yeah,
draft.
I think he was the first pick, and I think he was like 230 or 240.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm trying to do it through the website. We have it right here. So Remap, um, yeah, he went for 220.
Okay.
220. Um, so big bucks placed on Remap. Chaos immediately threw him out in response to Nesh too, right? Because you got to remember Nesh was the first pick here. So Chaos taking their big expensive Remap, throwing him up against Nesh, and then getting 2-1 in a +1 bonus match. That's a little bit of an upset, I think, maybe from what Chaos might have been expecting. So that's an interesting one. If we keep
Yeah, it's got
going,
to.
oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say it's got to sting a little bit, right? But Nesh has also been super active, and I think he's like maybe the number two player or number three player on Unhinged now. So like very, very good.
Yeah, and that's an interesting point you bring up too, right? Because Unhinged isn't just facing Chaos, they're also facing Legion. And so their first 2 players, Unhinged being the fourth seed, they had to place their players first. They slapped down their G5 over here, and we're gonna get to that in a second. But okay, so Nesh taking remap, excellent. That gave them the 3 points that really kind of allowed them to take this loss later on. But we'll get to that in a second. I want to hear your predictions on this because Bayagster versus Skler. So Skler has been pretty active, mid-range Zerg. I don't know how Bayagster is, but from what I've heard on the street, he's really good. Is that kind of what you're tracking?
Yeah, I also don't really know him personally, but everyone seems to have him in really high esteem. Um, I think Sklur is really good. I feel like he's put up some like really good results last season and in some of the SCU tourneys and stuff. Um,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he beat Quim 2-0. He's beat Ed, Ed and Eddie. You've beaten him, but it was a 2-1. Fire Tip's beaten him. Um, he's got some finishes here. He came first place in a level 1 tournament, fourth in a level 2, and then even
Okay.
participated in a money tournament. And so the money tournaments means, oh, that was the first one. So that one had a little bit of a wider net. But you're right. Like he's a solid player, a solid Zerg that they placed up against Bayagster. And I'm wondering if Unhinged even knows about Bayagster. I'm seeing here Killa in the chat. You're saying Bayagster's a beast. That's what I've been
Yeah.
hearing, and I'm kind of leaning
Everyone
towards
says,
that.
yeah, everyone says he's really good, which I assume equates to like high B-ish. Um,
At
that's
least, right?
yeah, yeah. That's just kind of the gist I get. High B, low A. Yeah, if that's the case, then I think Baxter is definitely going to take it.
Yeah, so that would swing the lead back into Chaos's favor. Interesting. But then we have a mismatch after the fact, and this one's interesting. And this one is interesting in the sense of the format. And I kind of want to spend a little bit of time on this one because remember, Chaos is also facing Savage, the number 1 seed, the big scary guy in the room, and you can already see they used Jedi, Erob, and Tim. And so instead of taking Tim on their third pick, and putting him against Wolfix, they chose instead to take Tim, get the win that they believe they can get against Grass, and they put Mutiler against Wolfix. Now this one I'm predicting Wolfix.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's a solid pick.
Okay. So this one's an interesting one as it comes down to just the players available and who they picked because I just mentioned they put Tim up here, right? There's another name on here that I think is really interesting, Radley Young, where they didn't put up in the bonus matches. Radley Young being one of the better Terran players in SCU, I would say. I think that's fair to say. Um,
Hmm.
so I'm really curious about the strategy here. Giving up one of these bonus rounds, maybe it's just the Wolfix effect, right? Like,
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just pretend that I was like a fly on the wall on their team chat and say that Radley and Mutler were talking, and Radley is like, "Yeah, I'm like 3-20 against Wolfix."
like,
So,
yeah, and that's a good point, right? Like, use him for a 2-0 somewhere else, right? Like that would aggregate you more points than
yeah.
getting 0-2'd here and then risking it later on. So really cool. We're getting to see that strategy kind of play out. Um, and then down here we have Art of Turtle 2-1ing Navane. This was a banger series. I had the pleasure of watching that this morning. Um, I think that I'll probably end up casting this one. This one was a lot of fun to watch. And I think that these two, I think, I don't know, Art of Turtle, if I was going into this trying to predict, it's a little tough because of Art of Turtle's inactivity, but where he's peaked and how good he's been historically. Navane is always a very solid player, right? But I don't know where Art of Turtle is on his comeback arc, right? And so
Hmm.
I wouldn't have really known how to predict this one. I probably would have predicted it 2-1 in favor of Navane, honestly, if I were to go back in time. Um, any thoughts on that?
So I actually feel a little goofy now because I thought Navane was playing Zerg.
No, he's Protoss.
Um, oops. Um, well,
There's a lot of players.
pie on face, yeah. Yeah, I would definitely put I would have put Art of Turtle winning
Okay.
pretty much regardless.
Hey, to that point though, do you know what Bay Axter plays?
I think he plays Protoss.
Okay, gotcha. And for those that are wondering, if you have a question mark in the website, it's because the website takes the replays and the race you play most often and assigns it as your main race. So if you don't have games in the website yet, like Bay Extra being a newer player to SCU and Skull, it's not gonna know, right? So that's why there's question marks there. Okay, very cool. Any others that step out? Um, Radley Young versus Kid Buu. Those are both good players that are down here out of bonus matches. I think that'll be a good match.
Oh, really? Okay, I was going to say I've never heard of Kid Buu at all, so I think Radley is going to smash him, but I
He
might be
he
wrong.
he might, but he is good. If I'm not mistaken. Got second in a level 1. fourth in a level 1. He's in a level 2. I think last season he put up some good stats. So anyway, I think I would also just favor Radley Young on that one. I think he's a tough one to bet
Yeah,
against in
I
most
think
situations.
yeah, like I said, I think they just held him back because they wanted to give him a sure win.
Yeah. Strom versus Memnon. That'll be an interesting match. Quim, Rennick. I think Quim has that one. Mr. Peanut Butter is an interesting one because Mr. Peanut Butter, I think he intends to play full random, like true
Oh
random.
wow.
And I
Okay.
haven't seen that yet. So curious to
Gotta
see
respect it.
if he goes forward with that plan, facing off against Nightcat. That would be a fun
So
one.
that's a double-edged sword, right? Because it throws off your opponents. They are going to have like wonky starting builds, but also you got to practice 9 matchups. So
Yeah, yeah, a little bit. Luckily, with the fact that he knows Nightcat's a Terran, he can practice that for the week, and then when he's placed into the next one, prep all week for that matchup, etc. I would
yeah,
love to see more random representation, though.
I would love to too. One of the things about CPL in particular that wrinkled my feathers was the fact that they banned random because mostly because of people complaining. Essentially, oh,
I think it
like it
makes a
does
little
kind
bit
of
of
suck to
sense.
it does suck to play against random, but I just think it's part of the game, so it should be in there.
It is. It is. I totally get it from CPL's perspective though, because it's meant to be a coaching league, and it's really tough to coach random. It's not
Yeah,
impossible, right? Like I'm sure there's a way, but when it comes to getting lower level players up to moderate, which I feel like CPL is kind of the goal, right? Like get you up into the C rank, high D, right? Like that's kind of what I feel like the
yeah,
goal is.
definitely.
You gotta you gotta know. Yeah, ask exactly. You just alt QQ. Too easy. Go next. All right, cool. So that's Chaos versus Unhinged. Now, Unhinged is facing off against Legion. And like we just mentioned, Unhinged, starting as the fourth seed, they were putting players first, right? So when you look at these rosters, you got to remember it's place first, response. Place first, response. It kind of alternates like that. So their very first players that they put, we already said Nesh for Chaos, but Legion being the scarier team, right? They threw out G5. And G5 it's funny because G5 showed up in the server, and I'm like, "Hey, who's G5?" And everyone's like, "You don't know G5? G5's like the goat, dude. Like, how do you not know G5?" And I'm like, "Well, I haven't been in the scene for 20 plus years, right? Like, I'm just getting back." Apparently, G5 is a freaking monster, and I
Yeah,
think it shows with a 2-0 over Mars, who's also a monster.
yeah. That's my boy G5 over there. Yeah, hell yeah. I'm super happy to see him winning already.
Yeah, in a good match against a good team, right? Like Legion, very strong team. Their first pick response against G5 being Mars. Both of these players new to Skull, right? Both these players, a lot of money being poured into them from the draft. So, very big win here, I think, for Unhinged. And I want to pair this up with the fact that Unhinged already had Wolfix. So Unhinged was the level 4 or the 4 seed team, right? They performed the worst in season 1, but I think they've got the bones, the foundation to really start getting that momentum rolling, right? Like if they're spending these seasons picking up the best player every time, that's going to start adding up pretty quick. So they've got Wolfix and G5, and look at this, they've got Dentarg too, right? Who
Yeah,
is no joke
I mean,
himself.
even Kiko is really good. Like I feel like their lineup for these bonus matches is just really solid, and I think they totally outperform Legion in their like top 6 lineup here. So I feel like they're going to be pretty successful going forward.
Yeah, for sure. And you gotta keep in mind too, like Legion's also facing against Savage, right? So it's like these teams that are facing off against Savage, they're forced to place maybe players that they wouldn't otherwise, like the Pandors of the world, right? The Erobs of the world, up against Unhinged, which is really cool about this format. I really do think it's self-policing in that sense, and I think it's gonna help a lot. So, okay, we talked G5 versus Mars. Big win here. Big win. Dentard getting a 2-1 over Gigi Nori. I don't know if these guys have a history or not. I wouldn't have known how to predict this one. Is this an upset or is this what you would have expected?
Um, okay, so this is a weird situation for me because Dentark has been around in CPL for a long time, and people have always told me that he's really good, but I've never played him. I've never seen him play. I think he's like low A-ish. So I figured he had a chance against Gigi Nori, but like I've been hearing that Gigi Nori is like really good right now, and
He
he's like
is.
A rank and like on a hot streak and stuff. So I kind of thought Gigi Nori was gonna win.
Yeah, this one would have been a tough one to predict. And so seeing Dentard grab that 2-1 on the bonus match, that's what's giving this 9 right now, right? Like that's what's giving Unhinged this lead over Legion in this week. So that's really cool. Now Kiko versus Yakub. Yakub's been doing really well as well. I
Mhm.
feel like he's just continually getting a little bit better and better. Kiko's also just an absolute monster though. So who wins
Yeah.
this one?
Okay, so this is a tough one, like you said. I think Yakub is like a PvT specialist. It feels like I feel like
Mm.
he's punched way above his weight with PvT. I think if we can look at his profile, like let's see,
So
yeah, no,
2-0 on PVT here, 2-1 PVT here,
yeah,
1-2
he
against
beat
Aussie.
Bradley twice.
Beat
Yeah, he
Radley
took a game off
twice.
Ozzy.
Yo, this is their
So
PVT sniper right here.
yeah, I think like overall, Hiko might be a little bit better than Yakub, but um, I feel like Yakub has a pretty good chance of taking him down. I would say like 2-1 Yakub.
Wow. Yeah, I think that's fair. After seeing 2-2-1s against Radley Young, that's no joke, right? I don't know how Radley Young
Yeah.
and Kiko stack up, but like that's pretty good. Escalade is predicting a 1% favor for Kiko out of
Oh
a
yeah, 51.
50%. A 50, it's 50-50
51%.
with
Yeah, yeah.
1% going to Kiko. Okay, we get you,
He's
Escalade.
extremely confident.
Yeah. Javi versus Hacker J. So this was a cool. Whoa, that was weird. Um, I'd like to look at this match. I know after the fact, Javi came back to his team and was like, "Whoa, Hacker J was way better than I thought he'd be." He's like, "I still got the win, but like that was not easy." And Javi is a powerhouse. And so
Yeah,
him saying that I think means a lot, and that's a big win for them.
right. I mean, well, I lost to Javi, so he must be sick as hell, right?
He must be. I mean, he beat Keen. Like that's the benchmark. If you beat Keen, you're sick as hell, right?
Yeah, I well this actually does surprise me because um I have never struggled against Hacker J. I've only played him like a couple times, but I think that might be chalked up to his play style because I'm pretty sure that well, I'm not pretty sure. I am sure that my Zerg versus Mech, which is what he almost only plays, is way easier than playing Zerg versus Bio. So,
And there's a point to be made for TVT is just a different beast,
oh yeah,
right? Like
yeah.
it's a whole nother game than
Well,
TVZ.
now you've poked a hole in my entire decision making theory, which is how I
How
have
it
played
feels when
against
you
these
play them.
players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's not the best litmus test here, but yeah, Escalade, torture versus trauma. That is TVT. You are completely correct. TVT is not that bad. It is rough to watch though. Um, it makes for some very long ASL groups, that's for sure.
It's kind of a funny situation because on the NAKR server where obviously all the NAKR guys and a lot of the other like higher level players that even joined this league this season hang out. Like Father is one example. So there it's like majority Terran. There's just like a ton of Terrans on the server
Yeah,
for whatever reason. And a lot of them are like pretty into TVT because of that. But Father is one of the exceptions. Father hates
he's just
TVT.
like, no, not for me. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah.
And then there's just a few other matches here, right? 9K versus Ash Green. 9K takes it 2-1. This one's pretty interesting to me. So 9K is a player I've been keeping an eye on, right? So 9K Grandmaster StarCraft 2 player, right? That's where
Mhm.
I know him from was StarCraft 2. He came over when I made the server and started getting back into Brood War. Hadn't played it for a long time. So he played season one. He played CPL last season, um, and has, as you'd imagine from a GM StarCraft two player, been picking it up very quick. I feel like beating Green is like a milestone here in the TVZ aspect for him. And picking up 2-1 is really good. 9K is a tough one to predict, right? Because the RTS skills are there, but the Brood War skills are still being refined. And so this one I think is a big pickup for Unhinged.
Yeah, yeah. Ash Green is not bad at all, and that's a wonderful victory to see for 9K because I think so. There's another player kind of in a similar situation to him, Ray Rain. I don't know if you
Yeah, yeah.
know of him. Okay, yeah, Ray Rain.
He's the face
All
on all the Discord servers. Just
yeah,
staring.
yeah. Um, so he was in a similar situation. He came over like a year and a half, or like maybe 2 years ago now. I don't know. But like, I think what set him apart the most is not just his legacy skill in like StarCraft and RTS, but like these StarCraft 2 guys, they work hard. It
Yeah.
seems like they work really hard and they play a lot and they're good at learning and assimilating information. And those are like the most important skills to have more than anything else, I think.
Yeah, and I think another big thing, going from StarCraft 2 to Brood War for a lot of these younger guys is at least the units are the same-ish, right? You're like, okay, that's a Marine. That's a Zergling. You don't have to you're not playing Age of Empires, right? You're not like, okay, what's a Men at Arms, right? Like, how do my
Yeah,
villagers work? It's not a completely different RTS, is the
you're
big
not
point.
building that knowledge foundation from the ground up.
Yeah, exactly. They're close enough to where they overlap very well, but obviously different games. So I like seeing individuals and 9K is kind of the one that I've been keeping my eye on of those people that have transitioned over. And I think to your point about grinding, GM in StarCraft 2 is interesting because StarCraft 2 is a much faster game in general. And getting to GM just like getting to S rank, you just have to grind, right? So like
Hmm.
doing that, you get those personalities like Ray Ray 9K who can sit there and just queue up over
Hmm.
and over and over again and practice those things. And so anyway, I saw that win and I thought it was really cool because just a Terran guy on his ascension arc and
Yeah,
curious to see where he
I hope to
goes.
see good things from. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh no, you're good. I
I,
was done.
I okay, yeah, I hope to see good things from him in the future. That's exciting to me.
For sure. And then down here at the bottom, right, we've got Melodved being O2'd by Kriggy. I think Melodved's a newer Terran player. And then we got Microling being O2'd by C. Again, I think that both of these were relatively predictable. But in this, one of the things that I think is really interesting, right, is we're seeing the +1 matter so much. We have two zeros in here from Legion, which is a big deal, right? When every map counts. But even though there's been 6 games series played and it's 3-3, Unhinged is winning it because of the +1 bonus points. So just another example of how the format matters so much for the strategy in this season. And I think that the format is playing out really, really cool.
Hmm. Yeah, one thing I want to say is I was a little wary of the 20 matchups at first. I thought like so when I saw our Savage draft, I was like, not only did we get good players, but we got a decent amount of players. So I felt
You
like
guys
we
have
were in a really good
31.
spot.
It's insane.
Yeah. Um, I think Manadog was like the other big winner in that way because he got like a ton of players. But I was thinking that like, dude, having 20 players every week is like a big ask. But I mean, there wasn't any forfeits, or well, there
Well,
haven't been.
not yet.
It's not yet, not yet. But every team at least got 20 players to sign up, which I think is a step in the right direction, right?
Yeah,
Obviously.
and to be honest, I didn't expect it, right? Like as I kind of mentioned, season 1 was way on the low end, and I wanted to course correct and kind of swing that pendulum and see, well, what's the high end, right? Like I thought 20 matchups per team was going to inspire some forfeits to occur in the lineup phase. We didn't see that.
Yeah.
And we didn't see that yet. I don't think like there's a few factors, right? Like summer is approaching, right? Like this season does go into like I think mid-June or something, right? So like life gets a little bit crazier when summer happens. Um so we'll see how this can be sustained, but week 1 it's showing strong, and the
Yeah.
format is showing that it's doing exactly what it's intended to do. Make these strategic player choices, make it so that it's a team sport and not just an individual tournament. Um, and I don't know. I'm really happy with it. Hopefully, we don't see a bunch of forfeits. Knock on wood. There's still a lot of matches to be played. I think I was crunching the numbers earlier, and we're something at like 30% of matches, which is fine because if anything that season 1 showed us, it's that everyone plays on Saturday and Sunday. Like 90%
Yeah.
of the games normally get played then. So we'll see how it shakes out.
I think that's unavoidable. Like, besides just the fact that people are off on the weekends, it's also just the fact that when you have time zone differences, it's like really hard to play during the weekday. So
Yeah, I mean, you got work, and then you got the time zone differences. And then, looking at a lot of the team chats, some of these players are trying to practice, right?
true,
Like,
true,
they don't
yeah.
want to play early in the week. They want to give themselves some time. Like, hey, for example, I think peanut butter we were talking about, right? If you're playing random and you got to reset your brain to play that matchup, you should probably give yourself the maximum amount of time to practice random versus Terran um,
Yeah.
for many reps as you can.
May I just shout out what I think the best strategy against random would be?
Yeah.
So, well, it's actually easiest for Terran. Um, you can just like one rack into CC in every matchup.
Yeah.
You'll need to, regardless of the race you're playing, like scout early and scout well, and just like take that little hit to the economy because you just need to figure out what is happening as soon as possible. But like just play. You don't even need to play for any matchup. You can just play, and if you want, like if you're Protoss, you can start doing like one base builds against Zerg, and those are totally fine, especially at our level. Like one gate tech is totally fine against Zerg, especially if they're trying to cheese you.
Yeah. And I think that makes total sense. I think I had that advice given to me, similar advice at least. There was a point where I ran into a random on the ladder and I came back to my buddies and I was like, hey, how should I approach this? Like, luckily the guy was honest. He was just like, I'm Protoss. And I'm like, oh, sweet. But I was like, I didn't really know what to do. And the advice was just like, have that build that starts off the same across all 3 matchups, right? Like, just do a factory expand, and if it happens to be Zerg, play mech, right? Like by the time your expansion's up, you should know what you're up against, right? Like there's that point.
Yeah.
And then just play a little defensively in the event that it's cheese, right? Because random
Hmm.
it has a tendency for cheeses. Um, so yeah, I think what you were saying just makes a lot of sense, and I think if Nightcat is aware that Mr. Peanut Butter is coming in potentially doing random, that's what I would be doing reps on, right? Like what does the first 3 minutes of the game look like
Yeah. Yeah.
in every matchup?
Definitely.
Cool, cool. So we already talked, finishing the week off, kind of what we expect from some of these higher profile matches. There's too many to go through all of them. We talked about a couple of the new players and how they're showing up and putting up some wins, right? And looking at like Sony as a new player, New Ocean and Royo. We saw G5 come out the gate against Mars. Like these are players that are new to the league and already making an impact. So I think that's really cool. The format itself is doing what it's meant to do. I'm really curious because I think we're going to see strategies adjust. Right now, we're seeing everyone just get who they can get and pair them up as best as possible. Um, but as we go into like week 5, week 6 of the round robin, I want to see teams gang up on that number 1 seed, right? Like you can disproportionately take maps away from a team that's outperforming to get a better seed going into the bracket. Now, the seeding doesn't matter as much as season 1, but it still matters, right? Like if you're number 1 seed facing off against the number 4 seed, that feels a lot better, right? Being able
Oh,
to take
definitely.
wins off increases your chances for a championship. So I'll be very curious about that. Anything to add on what we've seen from the website, the first week, anything along those lines?
No, I think the website is wonderful.
This
I think
website's so
it's
cool.
like it's way far and above any expectations I had for it, honestly.
Like, Champion needs to take this and go to every RTS community. Like, go to CPL, go to Warcraft 3's The Gym, go to Age of Empires T90 official, right? And just build this for them. Because, like, this is
Yeah.
beautiful, beautiful stuff. Um, And the next step that we're looking into, we'll see if it's possible and how it works, but we want to kind of get completely away from challenge and bring the brackets in here as well. So there's a system, like an automated system for signing
Oh,
up, firing, promoting
that
players.
would be amazing. Yeah. I mean, I think it's already amazing how it's working with Challenge, but you can never rely on a website for so long. Something might happen
Well, the
and
biggest
all
issue
that
with
data goes into the.
challenge is dope. Like it's great. The biggest issue with it is the amount of human interaction that's required every bracket. Right? Like, luckily, Hazareth has come up and he's helping out now and helping uh, admin them, host them, fire them, adjudicate the ends and stuff like that. But like that, there's a lot of brackets going on. We can go back to this, right? Like the number of brackets, number of
Mhm.
games. That's a lot of shit that I was trying to do in the background that was taking a lot of
Yeah.
time. So as much as we can automate it, the better. And yeah,
Okay, one thing real quick. Can you go back
yeah,
to the main page of SCU?
I'm there
I
now.
just want to
It's
say 209 players, dude. So okay, this is just a me problem, I guess, but like sometimes when I talk to people in real life about like the StarCraft, like the foreign StarCraft community, I'm like, yeah, there's probably like 300, like 200,
oh, there's
300
so many.
like active foreign players. I, I'm happy to be wrong about that, but that's also an extremely impressive number because that's not even a fraction, I think. Well, I mean, it literally is a fraction, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Um, I think the foreign community is a lot more active than I thought it was. So that's
Eh,
heartwarming.
It is. It is heartwarming, and I think it is just the surface, right? Like there's so many people not here, right? Not in SCOO,
Yeah.
not in Skull.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, and the more we can bump this number up, the better. And that's what we're trying to do with like the new programs and stuff, like just getting newer players a place where they can start building that community, get their legs underneath them, then jump into the brackets, then jump into school when they're
Yeah.
ready. And like they have this natural progression that goes all the way from 0 to 100. You want to hear something that I thought of when I saw the player number?
What's up?
I was thinking because I'm trying to think of a way to make this bigger, right? Like that's kind of what I'm always looking at is how do we get to the goal of having like an actual legacy team league with monetary prizes, in-person lands, things like that. And I'm not doing this, right? But what I was thinking was what if everyone gave like $5, right? And then we have like $1,000 tournament. Like that would bring a lot of people in, right? I would think maybe I don't know.
Mm,
I think BSL does something around $1,000. Like they're kind of the big foreign scene as of right now. But I was just looking like the bigger this number is, the higher likelihood we could crowdsource an amazing tournament series. But I don't know what that would
I
look
think
like
if
yet.
it was a LAN, I think people would be willing to pay and pay more than that.
Yeah,
But
I was just thinking
if
like
it's an
baseline.
if it's an online tournament, I think people will be more apprehensive about putting in that money.
Yeah, and unfortunately, everyone is so freaking dispersed around the world. In-person lanes are
Yeah,
tough, right? Like, it's one thing if you're in Korea and all the best players happen to live in Korea, which is a small country. Like they just hop on the train or the bus or whatever, and like
and
no big
even then, it
deal.
doesn't happen very often.
I know, right? It's kind of ridiculous. Cool, cool. The only other thing I had that I wanted to mention, and I haven't done a bigger announcement, I'll probably do it at this point. I wanted to give it some time for people to see it if they were interested or interact surrounding it. But we had the bounty match between Wolfix and Dragon. So how this worked, right? So Wolfix had not lost a series his entire time in Skull, and he had only had a couple maps taken off of him. One by Erob, and then someone else more recently. I forget who it was. Um, so we hosted a best of five show match between Wolfix and whoever showed up and paid a $5 entry fee. Right? So the $5 entry fee goes into a bucket. And that bucket goes to Wolfix when his bounty is finally taken down. So the idea is if he can survive and take out a bunch of players, then he gets a payday. Dragon took up the challenge immediately for the bounty, threw in the $5. They scheduled a time, and they had an absolute banger of a full 5 game series where Dragon came out victorious 3-2 and got the $50
And
prize and the bounty on Wolfix. So congratulations to Dragon. Very well played.
I'll have to watch that. I didn't even know. Well, I knew it happened, but I didn't know the results.
Yeah, yeah. Staged casted it with Iron V666. They did the casting. I was unavailable for it. And yeah, it was a great cast. It was a great series. I definitely recommend if you're interested in watching some high level TVP, give it a watch. It was a lot. It was a lot of fun. Other than
Sick.
that, any final thoughts from you?
Um, I not really. I was going to say I hope chaos. I was worried about chaos the most in terms of fielding players. So um, uh, you know, we started our registration for next week already, and
Yeah.
already there's like 15 plus players who signed up. So I feel like maybe I was just being way too much of a pessimist about the 20 matches a week.
Well, and to
Maybe,
that point, there were some players that were unavailable this last week, and one namely is Exit. Exit was a high
yeah,
draft pick. I think he went to Unhinged, and Unhinged being the fourth seed, they need all the muscle they can get, right? And so I'm curious to see when those weeks line up where they get all of their powerhouses fielded. You know,
right. Yeah, Exit, um, he works as a mailman, so it's
yoked.
yeah, and a very unpredictable schedule for those mailmen.
Oh, that's what you meant.
You,
I thought you meant like
no,
bringing the muscle is like, yeah, he's a mailman. You ever see the UPS guys? Like they're just ripped out of their brains, right? They're just moving packages all day, every day. It's like a thing.
yeah. Well, he does move packages every day.
There you
Um,
go.
yeah, uh, but the fact that obviously there's going to be players here and there, and I'm sure I would be surprised if we didn't see a single like forfeit, but it's looking good. It's looking good. I'm really happy to see how it's panned out so far.
Same, same. All right. Well, we'll look forward to that next week. We'll also next week we'll probably take a look at the week one results. But yeah, if you're on a team and you're not already signing up for next week, you should probably be doing that because that's one thing we didn't talk about tonight. But the lineup process for the captains is a lot more a lot more demanding than it was in season one. In season one, they could kind of take their time. They only had one other captain to deal with. Now all the captains need to pace their picks together. And it's
Oh
very
yeah,
involved. I created a whole nother spreadsheet tool just for it so that it's all as automated and pretty as possible so they're not overwhelmed with spreadsheet. They just have like their own little slice that each of them can look at and pick players. And it's a lot more, uh, like I said, demanding on the captains.
yeah. It feels like well, I don't know what it feels like, but when Mick Taran was like talking in our chat as he was going through it, it seemed like he was like not stressed out, but on like the verge of being stressed out, you know?
He came up on the net. He was just like, "This is hard," and all the other captains were like, "We don't feel sorry for you, dude. This is what it felt like every week we played you last season. Like, figure it out, man. Like, no sympathy. Everyone's just like, get bent, savage. Like,
That's
so
awesome.
yeah, it's funny. All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching. If you're watching this in the future, hope you enjoy it. And yeah, I'm really excited for this season. You should be too. And if you haven't checked out the website, make sure you do so. Champion did a kick-ass job on it, and it is definitely going to become a much more integral part of SCU and Skull. So we're going to go ahead and raid Ray Rain. We mentioned him earlier. I felt like it was only appropriate that we raid him. This is a high-level Protoss player, and as Keen was saying, kind of came over from StarCraft 2 and has gotten very, very good. All right, so here goes the raid. See you guys.
Nice.